9:30 at night. Not a soul in sight. Leaning against the ancient banyan tree by the shadowy village road, Kwong fidgeted, as if fire burned within him. Never had time dragged on so slowly. His face, tense and restless, betrayed his agitation as he pulled a crumpled pack of cigarettes from his pocket, stuck one between his lips, and flicked his lighter. For an instant, the flame revealed his flushed cheeks and the half-empty bottle of liquor by his side. He smoked in quick succession, exhaling smoke with long, weary sighs. The wind howled in bursts. Lightning jagged across the black sky. A storm's coming. Good, he muttered. Tonight, everything would change. He would have money to pay off his father's gambling debts, to repair their crumbling house. And most importantly, would finally have enough to marry Lon, the most beautiful girl in the village, the woman he had loved for so long. He had visited her house many times, even hinted at marriage. But her parents always looked down on him, their words sharp and cutting. A daughter should marry into security, not poverty. Don't throw your life away for love alone. With a husband who has nothing, life will be misery, endless arguments, regret too late. Her mother's voice still haunted him. We have only one daughter. We've raised her for over 20 years into a fine young woman. We won't let her suffer. If you had steady work in a respectable family, we'd have no objection. But look at yourself, 30 years old, and what do you have? At first, her words stung, wounded his pride. Yet deep down, he knew she was not wrong. His life had been one misfortune after another. His mother died early, his father drowned himself in drink and gambling, dragging their poor household into deeper ruin. Whatever money Kwong earned went to pay off debts. While his peers built homes, families, and livelihoods, he wandered on, empty-handed, burdened. Lon loved him, but her heart wavered. Day after day her mother whispered in her ear, poor marriages never last. Remember that, child. And she could not ignore the truth she saw around her. Friends who married rich lived in comfort, those who married poor struggled daily, selling in markets, scraping by meal to meal. Half in love, half in doubt, Lon hesitated. If Kwong failed to prove himself soon, she would accept, thanked son of the deputy chairman, plain-faced but promising, the suitor her parents had chosen. That night, after seeing Kwong out, Lon faltered, spend your time building a future. We shouldn't meet so often. Her cool tone shook him. Grabbing her hand, he snapped, what's this, Lon? Didn't you once swear you'd be my wife no matter what? Tears welled in her eyes. I did. But 3 years have passed. What future do we have? Tell me, when will you be ready? He lowered his gaze, fumbling for words. She continued bitterly, your house leaks, your father squanders on drink and dice, shouting curses at you. I pity you, Kwong, but I must think of my life too. His chest tightened with shame. Softly, he pleaded, I'll have money soon. Just wait a little longer. We'll move to the town. I swear. But she only turned away in silence, leaving him to hope her promise still held. From then on, Kwong worked tirelessly, scraping together what he could. Months of hard labor as a mason earned him 15 million dong fortune, to him. Yet before he could rejoice, his father fell ill from cirrhosis. 2 months in the hospital drained every last coin. When they returned home, Kwong could no longer hold his tongue. You've ruined me, father. What life do I have left? Ashamed, the old man swore, I'll give it up, the drink, the gambling. But there's still a debt of 20 million. If you could just once more, 20 million. Kwong roared. Do you know how impossible that is? Yet seeing his father's regret, he relented. I'll help you one last time. But after that, leave me in peace. I'm exhausted. By luck and persistence, he joined the local funeral service crew. The pay was meager, but steady. It would take years to save enough for marriage, but perhaps, just perhaps, Lon would wait. Until the day they buried Old Hai, the wealthy timber merchant of the village. Helping lower the coffin, Kwang's eyes caught on the glint of gold, a massive ring on the dead man's finger, a heavy chain studded with gems resting on his chest. He estimated at least 100 million in treasure buried with the corpse. Why the family left it, he didn't know. Perhaps it was the old man's dying wish, or superstition, or respect for his love of wealth. Perhaps they intended to recover it later, when the grave was exhumed. Kwang didn't care. All he saw was his chance. Money, that was all that mattered. With money, no one could scorn him. With money, Lon would be his. With money, his life would begin anew. He devised a plan. He would dig up Hai's grave and steal the gold. Not tonight, he promised himself, but very soon. The night was black, the village silent under a sky heavy with storm. Kwang met Trongi's drinking companion, a man as desperate and reckless as himself. Together they crept toward the graveyard, shovels slung across their shoulders, faces pale in the lightning's glare. The old burial ground lay on the edge of the bamboo grove. Graves jutted like broken teeth from the earth, their shadows stretching long under the flashes of light. The banyan tree loomed like a giant, its roots coiling into the soil like the fingers of the dead. The two men halted at the fresh mound old Hai's resting place. "Are you sure about this?" Trong whispered, his voice shaking. Kwang's eyes burned with a feverish gleam. "Do you want money or not? Tonight, we'll both be rich. One chain alone is worth more than a year of labor." Tron swallowed hard, muttered a prayer under his breath, and drove his shovel into the soil. The storm broke in earnest. Wind shrieked, rain lashed their backs, thunder rolled overhead as if the heavens themselves roared in protest. But greed drowned out their fear. They dug furiously, mud splattering their faces, hands blistering as the pit deepened. At last, the shovel struck wood. Both froze, breath caught in their throats. Lightning split the sky, and in that instant the coffin's outline emerged from the earth. With trembling hands, they scraped away the last of the soil and wedged a crowbar beneath the lid. It creaked, groaned, then slowly gave way. A stench burst forth thick, suffocating, like rot and damp earth. Trong gagged, nearly dropping his tool. Kwang pressed a cloth to his nose, eyes wide, fixed on the treasures within. There lay old Hai, his face waxen, lips twisted into a grin that seemed almost alive. The heavy gold chain gleamed against his chest, the ring glittered on his stiff finger. Trong muttered, "God forgive us." But Kwang's hands were already reaching forward, trembling not with fear, but with hunger. Kwang's hands shook as he slid the ring off the stiff, cold finger. It resisted at first, flesh swollen and rigid, but with a sharp tug it came free. The golden band glinted in the lightning, heavy with promise. Next, his gaze locked onto the thick gold chain lying across Hai's chest. Heart pounding, he bent closer, fingers fumbling to unclasp it. Suddenly froze. The corpse's lips twitched. For an instant, Kwang thought it a trick of the storm, a shadow cast by the flickering lightning. But then the sound came, a low rasp, a gurgle like something breathing through waterlogged lungs. Trong shrieked, staggering back. It moved. Dear God, it moved. Shut up. Kwang hissed, though his own skin crawled. It's nothing. Just nerves. But the corpse's eyes, once shut tight, were now half open, glassy orbs glinting under the stormlight. The grin on its mouth widened, lips peeling back over yellowed teeth. Kwang's breath caught. His instincts screamed to run, yet greed rooted him in place. With a final, desperate yank, he tore the chain from the dead man's neck. The coffin groaned. The body shifted, as if some unseen force stirred within. One arm jerked upward, fingers clawing the air. The gold ring slipped from Kwang's grasp, clattering against the coffin wood. Tron dropped his shovel and fled into the darkness, screaming incoherently. Left alone, drenched in rain, Kwang clutched the chain to his chest. His heart hammered like a drum. The corpse's grin seemed to follow him, stretching wider, as thunder cracked overhead. The storm howled, and in its roar he swore he heard it an echo rising from the coffin, from the pit itself, an inhuman laugh, hollow and endless, clawing into his very bones. Rain hammered down as Kwong scrambled out of the pit, clutching the gold chain to his chest. Mud smeared his face, his breath ragged, but triumph flickered in his eyes. He had done it. He had the treasure. Yet behind him, from the open coffin, came a sound soft at first, then growing. A dragging noise, like nails scraping wood. He dared not look back. Stumbling, he fled the graveyard, the storm's fury chasing at his heels. At dawn, Trong was found in the bamboo grove, half mad, babbling of corpses that moved, of eyes that laughed in the dark. No one believed him. People whispered that fear and liquor had poisoned his mind. As for Kwong, he staggered home, soaked and trembling, but with pockets heavy. His father's debts were paid. His house repaired. And Lon Lon agreed at last to marry him. For a time, fortune seemed real. But at night, the storm returned in his dreams. He would wake to the sound of soil crumbling, coffin lids creaking. In the shadows of his room, he swore he saw it had grin, those half-open eyes. And sometimes, in the dead of night, he felt a hand, cold and stiff, clutching at his throat. The ring he had stolen vanished soon after. The chain dulled, its gleam fading no matter how often he polished it. Neighbors whispered of ill luck, of spirits unappeased. And then, on the eve of his wedding, the storm came again. Lightning split the sky. Lon found him the next morning, lying in his bed, eyes bulging, mouth twisted into a grin that was not his own. Around his neck, the gold chain gleamed faintly tightened, as if choking him. From that day, no one dared walk past the old graveyard at night. They said the ghost of Hai still laughed in the thunder, waiting for the greedy, the desperate, the foolish, just as it had claimed poor Kwong.